says sing, Spirit 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 says sing. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you gotta dance, oh Lord. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. Spirit says dance. Spirit
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder on this green Sunday morning. My name is Steve Todd, and I will be the worship leader for today's service. We welcome all to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. If you are a new visitor, please email our office manager, Amy Zen, and let us know you found us. You will find her email posted now in the Zoom chat. Our church website has a great deal of information about the church and activities, and that address is also being posted. And now I'd like to welcome one of our UUCB families, Ed and Amy Self, and their son Elias, to tell us about a special food and supply drive that's happening next weekend.
2 years ago, thanks to our amazing Reverend Dana, our church developed a wonderful relationship with an organization called the TP Raisers, which supports the Lakota people of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. That's Pine Ridge in the background. And our family has been involved ever since. Pine Ridge has the most poverty of all of the reservations in the U.S., deeply impacted by 150 years of oppression, systemic racism, and massacres. Since our church established our relationship with Pine Ridge, 2 groups of volunteers have gone there to address the basic human needs of food, shelter, and warmth. We do things like home repairs, cutting firewood, and distributing food and supplies, all while working side by side with the Lakota people, learning about their lives and struggles and their beautiful culture. Elias, how have our past trips affected you?
Yeah, well, we went on 2 trips, and I think that especially the first one, just getting to see how these people were living in a suppressed culture with kind of blatant poverty. And we got to witness that firsthand and help out. And they shared their stories. And I mean, they were super nice people. We had a great time. Got to connect with them, and I think that it had a really big impact on the group.
Thank you, Elias. It was great to share that with you, and I feel like it brought out the best in you and all of us, really. So we have a third group of 22 volunteers going up in just 2 weeks from now, over Memorial Day weekend, to do another round of volunteer work up at Pine Ridge. Every time we go, we load our vehicles down with as much food and supplies as we can possibly carry. We're going to have 6 or 7 vehicles and a large trailer going, and that's a lot of capacity to support the people of Pine Ridge. So here's the fun part where you come in. Next weekend, UUCB is holding a supply drive Saturday 10 to 4 and Sunday 9 to 2. A list of items has been posted in the chat box for you. You might want to copy that away for future reference. There will be somebody at the front door of UUCB to greet you and to take in the items and store them away safely for the following week when we'll load them and carry them to Pine Ridge. Please put your items in large plastic bags that'll make it easier to haul things around. And thank you so much, and please help us continue this powerful relationship that we've been building with the people, the Lakota people of Pine Ridge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Two years ago.
And now these few service notes. First, Reverend Jeremy, who was to have been our presenter for this service, became ill yesterday, so we are pleased to have Reverend Dana stepping in to lead us and share a message with us. Also, some of you have suggested that I pass along this request, that whenever possible, each of us in our worshiping community turn on our Zoom videos so we can see one another's smiling faces. But as always, please ensure that your microphones are muted, as Reverend Dana calls us now to worship.
Good morning, my friends. I share with you a beautiful poem by one of our favorites, Mary Oliver, called Dream Work. Every morning, the world is created. Under the orange sticks of the sun, the heaping ashes of the night turn into leaves again and fasten themselves to the high branches. And the ponds appear like black cloth, on which are painted islands of summer lilies. If it is your nature to be happy, you will swim away along the soft trails for hours, your imagination alighting everywhere. And if it is your spirit, if your spirit carries within it the thorn that is heavier than lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging, there is still, somewhere deep within you, a beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted. Each pond with its blazing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning. Whether or not you have ever dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray. Come, my friends, let us worship together.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is, and here my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
If you have a personal chalice or candle near your computer, please get ready to light it. And we invite you to type into the chat box where your chalice is lit, the street or neighborhood or what city, if you're joining us from outside of Boulder County. And now I'd like to invite Michael and Diana King to light this morning's chalice.
Good morning. Michael and I have been UU since 1981 when we joined a UU church in Maryland. We found a home here at UUCB in 2012. When Steve asked us to light the chalice this Sunday, we found out that the sermon topic was, "What are you made of? Stardust and Stories." We couldn't pass up the opportunity to use that to introduce you to a little of what we are made of. I come from a long line of storytellers. My mother was a library story lady, and her mother and father were both natural storytellers. After I retired in 2016, I found a new calling as a volunteer oral storyteller in the elementary schools, as part of the Boulder Valley Spellbinders program. Spellbinders was created in 1990. It's a wonderful opportunity for retirees and others to give back to the community through an intergenerational program in the schools with over 400 storytellers up and down the Front Range. I love sharing humor, insights, and traditional folklore with the children.
In some respects, if Diana's passion is stories, mine is Stardust. I worked for NASA for 30 years and continue to research on Earth observations, including climate, solar radiation, clouds, and dust, or aerosol particles. They love to tell the story of what space observation means to people in their own world. For example, I met with the Kenyan Minister of Agriculture to explain how to use satellite data. He became very excited to learn that he could tell when maize or corn crops were ripe from space by colors observed. He knew then that he could warn the farmers of the 3-day period when the elephants who could smell the ripened corn would come and eat their corn crops instead of 3 weeks of sleepless nights that they had to stay out defending their fields. We experienced the same kind of excitement in Taiwan related to using satellites to study rice crops, and South Africa related to mining. So
we light this chalice in honor of the stories, stardust, and interwoven web of life
that we celebrate regularly in this church.
We now invite all those gathered in your various locations to join together in fellowship and community as we say aloud our congregation's covenant. We gather in fellowship to speak truth to each other, to reach out and touch one another, to care with each other, and to seek the truth divine. So be it.
And now I invite us into a time of blessings and concerns where we share our common story and we share each other's story and hold each other through the stories of our lives. And I just have to say thank you for that awesome chalice lighting. That was really great. Thank you, guys. So, as we consider our own stories, let us tune in to what's going on in our lives, taking a little moment to turn inwards in our quiet thoughts, considering our feelings and our emotions in this moment, and pausing to contemplate the stories under those feelings, the stories that give rise to those feelings. Holding ourselves in tenderness and compassion. And as we turn our minds and hearts to all of those that we love, holding them with our love, acknowledging the stories that they too are holding, giving rise to their emotions, whatever is happening in their lives. And I invite you to post into the chat your joys and concerns, and especially your concerns right now as we hold our community. Diane Ewing posts that she is remembering 3 people in her life who passed away from AIDS-related complications. Thank you for telling us, Diane. May we hold them with you and hold you with love as well. And I want to, of course, lift up Reverend Jeremy, who tells me today that he is recovering and doing a bit better. And may we send him lots of love and care and best wishes for his recovery as he gets better. And of course, we want to lift up John Rao. Jim is posting this in the chat. He discovered that he has to have quadruple bypass surgery tomorrow. So a bit of a shock all of a sudden for the family, and we hold you with love, and may that surgery go smoothly and easily as possible, and may your recovery, John, go very well. We look forward to hearing about it. Janelle posts about her concern over violence in the Middle East. I'm sure many share that with you, Janelle. I know I do. Thank you. Heartbreaking to see what's going on. Oh, Jeremy's just sick. Lynn is asking what's wrong with Jeremy. Nothing, he just came down with a bug. He's all right. Someone posts that both T. Smith, both furry family members of this home, have passed away in the last 6 weeks. Oh, that's so hard. I'm sorry. Peace to all who grieve, and may all living things be welcomed into the arms of release. I'm so grateful that suffering does have an end. Indeed, indeed. And may you know that we're holding you with love through all you're going through. And I'm concerned about whether I will make rent through August. Jason, thank you for posting that. That is a huge worry, and I wish you the best with that. Indeed. And I invite you to go ahead and post any joys and celebrations in the chat as well, as we hold all the aspects of our lives, all of our worries and concerns and our joys and celebrations. Steve and Heidi are celebrating milestone birthdays. Congratulations. And the adventure continues. Chris and Tom Zanoni, many thanks to all who joined us for our UUCB work day yesterday. So nice to see all your lovely faces in person. Wonderful. And Steve posts, happy birthday today to my lovely wife, Heidi Todd. And Alan Davis says, the spring work session yesterday was fun and made the church grounds look much better. So great. Carol Teal, my husband and I will celebrate 46 years of marriage tomorrow. Happy anniversary. And I was just about to post this too. Rebecca posts that she had a nice graduation from the Front Range Community College. Congratulations, Rebecca, on your graduation. Thank you, Rain. Barb is continuing to in her recovery, and she went to the store this week. How wonderful. Happy birthday to Heidi's husband, Steve Todd. Wow, you guys have birthdays close by. That's so cool. And a big shout out to my husband, Steve Nye, who has his birthday this coming week. So my wife, Carol Saunders, is recovering nicely from her fractured hip caused by a bike accident. Oh my, I didn't know. Glad she's recovering well. May Bibi and Benny come to an epiphany and realize the difference between defense and offense. Thank you, everyone. Feel free to continue posting if you would like. And as we go, oh, Janelle posts one more thing. Fun watching my boys play baseball and soccer games. It's that time of year, my friends. So may all of these comments and all the unspoken comments, as we see everyone out in our community, create a container of love where you know that you are held and that you are holding each other. Someday we will be back in person, and until then, know that each tiny little box in our Zoom windows is a part of your life and is a part of this container holding you with love. For all these blessings and concerns, as well as those that are silent on our heart, we hold compassionate space with love. Thank you for all of the ways that you bless each other. Oh, and is that Amanda graduated? Woohoo, Amanda! And that was our beautiful Amanda playing that beautiful reflection piece on piano. Congratulations on your graduation, Amanda. And now I would like to invite us all to settle into our chairs for a brief meditation as I ring this bell. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in, and breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. Settling into this present moment. With all the stories in our heads, competing for attention, just letting them settle down, watching them float by like a cloud. The Buddhist nun and great spiritual teacher Pema Chodron tells us that we could be sitting on the edge of the Grand Canyon and be sitting there like we have a paper bag over our heads, missing the whole thing. And that's because the stories in our heads keep us from the present moment. We often forget this present moment holds a story that is with us. The story is that with every breath you take, You are given new life. And in every moment of life, there is new possibility. Feel the truth of this present moment. Feel the truth of the blood that is flowing through your veins, the miracle of your heart that is beating. The earth that is your bones, the stardust that sparkles within your being. Whatever is going on in your life, remember the miracle of this present moment. The miracle of just being alive. The earth is your body. The water is your blood. The air is your breath. And the fire is your spirit. Never forget the truth of this story. May it be so. Amen.
16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet to slow the circles down. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle again. So the years spin by, and now the boy's 20. Though his dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams and plenty, before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle again, and go round and round and round in the circle again.
Thank you, Deborah. And now a reading from author Michael Morpurgo. Wherever my stories take me, however dark and difficult the theme, there is always some hope and redemption. Not because readers like happy endings, but because I am an optimist at heart. I know the sun will rise in the morning, that there is light at the end of every tunnel.
I'm so sorry that Jeremy isn't here today because he's ill, but I'm also very honored and delighted to be with you. But to be honest, I'm also disappointed because I always enjoyed Jeremy's sermons, and now I'm going to be wondering what would he have said? Well, I like to play a game when watching a movie or a TV show. I'm sure my husband Steve finds it annoying, but he's a good sport about it. You see, I pause a show right when a plot development is about to happen and ask, what's going to happen next? If you were writing this story, what would you make happen next? So what direction was Jeremy going with this title of Stardust and Stories? Maybe someday we'll find out, but for now I have very little to go on. There is this clue that our theme for the month is story, and a quick search tells us that the title probably comes from a quote by the author Erin Morgenstern. We are all stardust and stories. We are all stardust and stories. Stardust, yes. Carl Sagan taught us that, or he put that story into our common narrative, and science confirms it and adds to that story. But I wonder, what was it like for you when you first heard that you were star stuff, that you were stardust? What did it feel like for you to hear that you are stardust? Perhaps in one moment, you went from just being an ordinary person to being a magical being. You didn't need stardust sprinkled on your head to be magical because you had it inside of you all along. So when you really consider it, every thought, every feeling, experience, and belief that we have come is made up of multiple stories. And the stories we tell ourselves change our entire experience of reality. Just like the story that you truly are star stuff. And we have stories upon stories given to us from our elders and ancestors, and from science, and from philosophers, and everything that has come before. There are the stories that also project onto us from other people around us. We can't even keep up with all the stories. And consider the stories of I can't. That comes up early in life. I can't do this, I can't do that. Think of all the ways that saying I can't has shaped your life. And think of all the ways that saying I can has shaped your life. The stories from our fears and anxieties that plague us has the whole world, such as, okay, let me start over there. The stories that we have of our fears and anxieties plague each and every one of us. So, for instance, has the whole world figured out yet that I'm a stupid idiot? Or your own version of that. And if they haven't yet, they will certainly know for sure after they hear this sermon. Well, we all have our versions of that, and they tend to actually run our lives. It seems to be natural human nature to focus on the negative. We all tend to have this negative bias with what we notice and what we judge in ourselves and others and what we feel. Stories have energy to them. They inspire us to be great and noble actions, and they also bring on anxiety and depression. So it is important to notice the stories under the thoughts and feelings and actions, because those are the things that we tend to turn into reality, whether it's negative or positive. I've always been a bit of a skeptic with the power of positive thinking and such, but what if we took time every day to focus on the positive stories, the basic truths that we know, just like we did in our meditation, the ones that we have experienced and the ones that we want to experience, to kind of build up that happy thought muscle. At minimum, we'd all probably be a lot happier and have more fun with life. And how might that actually transform everyone's experience of life? There's another great quote that I keep coming back to again and again, especially during the pandemic. That is, we do not see reality as it is. We see reality as we are. Now, this quote is attributed to the early 20th century writer Anais Nin, but is actually found in numerous sources over thousands of years, and it is not hard to observe. Immanuel Kant, the great philosopher, was basically getting at this very point. So I wonder, can you catch glimpses of the stories that you tell yourself? The more you are able to see them, the more you can shape them and the more you can question them. The more you question them, the more you can use your consciousness to an intentionality to change them. Just recently, I started getting up early and going for a walk first thing in the morning. Now, this is completely out of character for me. And yet, I've always thought it is truly the most glorious time of day. I always imagined how wonderful this would be to get up early and go for a walk when the sun's coming up. But I never did it until a few weeks ago. I realized that I wasn't allowing that reality into my story. I didn't imagine how I could get up early in the morning and go for a walk. Just that realization and allowing that possibility into my story, suddenly everything shifted and now I get up early when I'm actually a night owl. So our stories determine how we experience each present moment, and it also creates the scaffolding for the future that we're moving into in every moment. So when we need change in ourselves and in our world, and I know you don't need me to remind you how much change we need in our world, we need to look to the key building blocks that shape everything, our stories. Yes, our stories got us into this mess, and our stories are what will get us out. It is time, my friends, to tell better stories, and it is time to use those stories to create a new reality. Now, I'm guessing the ministerial search is on many of our minds. So, what are some of the stories we might be telling ourselves about the ministerial search? Early on in the process, the search committee asked everyone to weigh in with their opinions on what they would like to see in a new minister. Consider how this list might be. We want and expect to have someone who is young and full of energy and is wise beyond their years. We want someone who will always show up to our events and make pastoral calls. But we want someone who's really great at setting boundaries and doesn't overextend themselves and makes their family first. We want someone who is great at preaching, but we also want someone who's really great at running an organization. Well, we want someone who knows their mind and is a great leader, but we want someone who is good at listening to everyone's perspective and all points of view. The list creates an impossible story that no one can live up to. And it is a setup for failure for everyone. So how about this? Maybe let's change that story a little. We want a minister who is in relationship with us, who loves and cares for us, however imperfectly, who is committed to sharing whatever talents and strengths that they have, as well as their human frailties, inviting us to do the same. May we have the wisdom to accept them for who they are, knowing full well it won't be the whole laundry list of amazing things that we said we wanted. But the relationship will be full of amazing surprises with twists and turns and challenges and invitations to grow for all of us to be better humans along the way, just like any great story. You see, this creates a beautiful framework for whoever comes in. For our future is one of the greatest gifts. This framing is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves, the church, and especially a new minister. Fairy tales, Neil Gaiman tells us, are more than true, not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. And my friends, we have some epic dragons that need to be slain. Sometimes it seems that our stories tell us that everything needs to be a fight, which pits one group of people against another. This is old. This is so old. It doesn't fit our world anymore, and this story needs to change. For we cannot save this world with only half of us trying and the other half undermining. The dragons are not each other, but what we have created by fighting each other. It is time for new and better stories that create a space to bring together healing for everyone. So, what might that look like? Well, here's a story. The people, the amazing, brilliant people of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder, whom I personally know, were unwilling to give in to the hopelessness and see the world, and seeing that the only way to save the world was to get as many people working together as possible. And they took it upon themselves to build relationships with those they do not even know, with whom they don't always agree. And as first steps towards leading to healing, and created a pathway to help save the planet. How do you like that story? Can you imagine yourself in that story? If so, what does that look like and how does that feel? What are the next steps to making it a reality? Erin Morgenstern gave us the quote about Stardust and Stories. And here's another quote that she gives us from her book, The Night Circus. You may tell a tale that takes up residence in someone's soul, becoming their blood and self and purpose. That tale will move them and drive them. And who knows what they might do because of the story that you told, because of your words. So I don't know what Jeremy was going to say, but he left us another little hint. What are you made of? What are you made of? If we are made of stardust and stories, the answer will always be found in the stories we tell ourselves and each other. My friends, now is the time for us to tell the best ones. May that be so. May we make it so. Amen and Ashe. Thank you.
We share our offering in this month of May with Bridge House, whose mission is to end homelessness one person at a time. They offer adults experiencing homelessness a continuum of programming spanning from basic needs services such as nightly dinners to robust programs that offer paid work and housing. Their Ready to Work program is the only integrated revenue-generating workforce development and housing model in Colorado that offers a work-first approach in solving homelessness. Jonathan, not his real name, a senior living center nurse, lost his license when he succumbed to a life dependent on alcohol. He found his way to Bridge House's Ready to Work program, regained his nursing license, and is back supporting and contributing to the lives of seniors. He is now one of the newest members of the Bridge House Board of Directors. You can make a donation now using the link posted in our chat by sending a check to UUCB or scanning the QR code on this slide with your mobile phone. Please be as generous as you can. We will now receive the offering. May our gifts be used to enact justice, bringing peace and love to the Boulder community.
Thank you, Amanda. Such great music today. I just give a big shout out to all of our musicians for some very fun music. And for these closing words, these are the words that Reverend Jeremy had chosen that fit very well for the sermon that I gave. As we prepare our hearts and minds to return to the world, hear these words of author Yoshi Ginsberg, who said, "Despite the natural belittling of oneself, the doubts, the insecurities, we have to wake up to the realization that we all write our own autobiography. We are the authors of our life story." Realizing that write a good story with your life and make sure to write yourself as the protagonist. Be the hero of your journey. Unquote. May it be so, and may we be heroes together. Ashe.
Go your way in peace, wander as you may. Blessed is the path you take, may love guide you on your way. Go your way in peace, wander as you may. Blessed is the path you take, may love guide you on your way.
We invite you to stay with us now in our Zoom rooms for a time of online fellowship and discussion. Barb and Fred, our Olympic greeters, are here to tell you how this is going to work.
Good morning, I'm Barb Richards.
And I'm Fred Cole. We really truly aren't Olympics, but we're pretty